Okay, I have tried to make this video 3 times already, so we're going to try one more time. And I gave it a different name so that maybe my computer wouldn't freak out. So, to start with, I want to mention that the first 2 problems up here are review. We have done problems like number 1 and number 2 already this year, but I thought it would be good to start with a little bit of review before I taught you something new to go with it. So what I want to remind you is the rule. We are always going to multiply by the denominator to get rid of a fraction. So we're just going to write that kind of in the middle of the page between number 1 and number 2, and we're going to use this rule for all of them. Always multiply by the denominator to get rid of a fraction. So on number 1, the denominator is 3. So we're going to multiply both sides by 3. So I'm going to take this side times 3, and that cancels out the divide by 3. I'm going to take this side times 3 because we have to do the same thing on both sides. We'll get x equals 15. Okay? And you can check by putting 15 in where the x was. So if I do 15 divided by 3, I go, oh, what do I get? I get 5. Is that what I had on the original equation? Yes. So you can check by putting the number back into the equation and making sure that it works. Let's take a look at number 2. So number 2, there's a bit of a trick. We're going to put the negative sign in the denominator with 2 and rewrite it. So x over negative 2 equals 3. So this is x divided by negative 2. So to get rid of divided by negative 2, we're going to multiply both sides by negative 2. And then we get x equals negative 6. Remember, these have different signs, positive times negative, so the answer comes out negative. Okay? Let's look at number 3. So this is what's going to be new. There's an x in the denominator, but the rule is still to always multiply by the denominator to get rid of a fraction. So now my denominator has x. It's okay. We're going to multiply both sides by x. I'm going to rewrite this just to make it neat. So I just wrote the problem again. And then we're going to multiply by the denominator, which is x. So I'm going to take both sides times x. That cancels this out. We get 10 equals 2 times x, or 2x, however you want to write it. Now, there's still another step. We are not done. Okay? Because x is not by itself yet. We want to solve for x. So if I have 2 times x, the opposite is to divide by 2. We use these little fraction bars to get rid of that, and you get 5 equals x. And again, you can check your answers by putting the 5 back in where the x was. So I would have 10 divided by 5, and I go, oh, what is that? Well, that's 2. Well, that's what I wanted, so I must have done it correctly. You can always, always, always check these when you get done and just make sure that it works. Okay, let's look at number 4. So I'm going to rewrite this just to make it neat. Remember, we're going to multiply by the denominator. So the denominator is x. So we're going to multiply both sides by x to get it out of the denominator. We get x, or 8 equals 4x. And then we're not done. I want to get x by itself. So then we divide by 4, and we get 2 for our answer. And then we could check it by putting 2 in where the x was. So 8 divided by 2, I ask myself, oh, what is 8 divided by 2? Well, it's 4. Is 4 what I wanted? Yes. And that's how you know that you came up with the right number. And on some of these, you guys could probably look at it and go, I know that it's 2 just because 8 divided by 2 is 4. But this is getting you ready for some high school problems next year, and so we're going to learn this process now. All right, if we go down to number 5, there's a negative out here again, so we're going to put that with the x. So I'll have 12 over negative x equals 3. So we're going to multiply by the denominator to get rid of the fraction. So we're going to multiply by negative x and multiply by negative x. This gets rid of this, and I have 12. Now, negative x is the same thing as negative 1x. So we could write it that way. And then that makes it easy to do the multiplication. So 3 times negative 1 is negative 3, and then we have the x. And then we want to get x by itself, so I have negative 3 times x. What's the opposite of multiply? Divide. So we divide both sides by negative 3. And so you get negative 4 equals x. And this is a little trickier to check. If you go back to the original, I have negative 12 over negative 4, but that would just make it negative 3, and the negative cancels out and becomes positive 3. You could also check this on a calculator and put it in with the fraction bar, and I think that works. Or just use the division key, and you could check it that way as well. Okay, number 6. So we're going to move the negative sign down here. I'm going to have 25 over negative x equals negative 5. So we're going to multiply both sides by negative x. And if you want, you can go ahead and change that to negative 1x. So then I have negative 5 times negative 1, which is 5. So we have 5x. And to get x by itself, we divide by 5, and we get 5. And then you could check this by having negative 25 over 5. If I put 5 in for x right there, which would give me negative 5, which is what I wanted. Oh, and I guess I didn't mean to box that like it was an answer. I did that on the last one too. I just put negative 5 and then check it off that that works.